So welcome. Carolyn, can you hear me okay? Great. Good to see you all. Good to be here. And we'll just take a moment to settle in as folks are joining, to find your breath, to find the ground beneath you, to welcome yourself here. And welcome if you're joining in just now. We're just taking a few moments as more folks are joining. You might want to look at the names and faces in the room, the Sangha that's forming here and now. So welcome, my name's Djuna Devereaux, and my pronouns are she and her. And this morning or today, we'll take some time for chanting, to resource ourselves, to connect with the ancient sounds and with the teachings of the Buddha. We'll sit together. There will be some guidance during the sitting, as well as periods of silence. And then I'll share some Dharma reflections. And the theme today that I would like to share about is being the kindness of strangers. And this theme has been really rich for me, actually, since the election in the US, this most recent election. And I had to fly, I think just a few days, maybe 3 or 4 days after the election. And I really noticed how much people in the airport, people I didn't know, people on the shuttle to the airport were making eye contact with me and smiling. And there was a sense of connecting, a sense of reaching out in a time which I know for many people and felt quite unsettling and still feels quite unsettling. And so since that time, I've become really curious about this kindness of strangers, especially within the field that we're in right now in the US, where there's a lot of upheaval, there's a lot of chaos, and there's a lot of division. And it feels like there's an intentional creation of division and othering. And where there's a sense that I'm seeing that certain people don't matter, right? It's kind of the messaging, certain people don't matter. And how incredibly important it is to practice noticing in myself the people that I don't notice, the people that I naturally am not aware of, and to make those people matter. So to engage in a conversation in the grocery store, where yesterday I was on a hike and there was a couple that were hiking with their dog that were visiting the place that I live. I live on Orcas Island. And to connect with them, hear about their experience of being here. Noticing in myself how that changed the whole nature of my sense of the world around me, how it's been changing that, the sense instead of this chaotic, divisive, kind of frightening, as it were, world. There's a sense of, oh, we're mostly good people. We are good people wanting to care for one another, wanting to enjoy our lives. We all have vulnerability. We all have shared humanity. We're certainly not all having the same experience in any way, and yet there is a way that we can make this connection. And so wanting to explore this theme today in its depth. And I'll begin with a poem that I actually just heard last night in a talk by Devin Hassa. And this is from a book titled The First Free Women, Poems of the Early Buddhist Nuns. It's edited by Maddie Weingast and Aya Nandabodhi. And the poem is called Mitta, which is another word for metta, means friend. And each poem in this collection is titled by the name of the nun who wrote it. So this was written by a nun named Mitta. Full of trust, you left home and soon learned to walk the path, making yourself a friend to everyone and making everyone a friend. When the whole world is your friend, fear will find no place to call home. And when you make the mind your friend, you'll know what trust really means. Listen, I have followed this path of friendship to its end, and I can say with certainty, it will lead you home. So again, welcome if you've just joined us. And I'd like to chant together. So I'll share my screen so you can see the chanting book. And let's start at the top of page 3. So today we'll chant the refuges, we'll chant the precepts, we'll chant Itipiso, again, the recollection of the Triple Jewel, and then we'll end our chanting with allowing the boundless qualities, the Brahma Viharas, shine forth or radiate outward. So mantra at the top of page 3. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranang gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyam pi buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyam pi dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyam pi sangham saranam gacchami, Tatiyam pi buddham saranam gacchami, Tatiyam pi dhammam saranam gacchami, Tatiyam pi sangham saranam gacchami. And the precepts just below the refuges. And I really appreciate the recollection or the contemplation of knowing or understanding how deeply our lives are intertwined. I undertake this training to essentially honor that sense of belonging, honor that inextricable belonging to the web of life. So this practice of sila, these precepts, are our gift that we offer to ourselves, that we offer to one another, to those we know, to those we don't know, knowing how deeply our lives are intertwined. Let's chant the precepts. Panatipata viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from intentionally taking life. Adinadana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from taking that which is not given. Kamesu michachara Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from misuse of sexuality in the senses. Musawada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from speech that is false, divisive, harsh, and meaningless. Sura Meraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to refrain from intoxication, which leads to carelessness. And let's close the refuges and precepts with Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. And then on the next page, top of page 4, recollection of the triple jewel, these qualities of refuge. When we take refuge ourselves, when we begin to trust in the awakened nature of the mind, of the heart, of the citta, when we trust in the way it is, really aligning with how it is, when we trust in our understanding of our belonging, then in that refuge we have the possibility, the capacity of making an offering, of radiating metta, of offering our kindness to those we know and those we don't know. So at the top of page 4, iti piso. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampano sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta devamanusanam buddho bhagavati savakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko pachatang veditabo vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato sawakasango Ujupatipanno bhagavato sawakasango Nayapatipanno bhagavato sawakasango Samichipatipanno bhagavato sawakasango Yadidang chattari purisa yugania Tapurisa pugala esa bhagavato sawakasango ahunayo pahunayo dakinayo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyaketang Lokasati. last chant will be on page 8 in the chanting booklet. And let me see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Apologies that I haven't done that yet. So you can see a bit better. Yeah. So this is the chant of this embodiment of radiating metta, sending metta out in all directions, above, below, and all around. These qualities, not just of metta, but of compassion, of joy, of equanimity, these 4 expressions of an awakened heart that are abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. And in our meditation, we'll have the opportunity to really embody this, really feel this energetically in the body. I want to share, before we chant, I want to share a passage from the Majjhima Nikaya about this radiating of the heart, the liberating qualities of the heart. The Buddha was asked, "What is communion with the divine?" He said, "The practitioner suffuses the world in all 4 cardinal directions with a mind of benevolence, a mind of kindness, with a mind of compassion, with a mind of joy and equanimity of serenity. Above, below, and all around, the whole world from all sides, completely, with a benevolent, all-embracing, great, boundless, peaceful, and friendly mind. Just as a powerful conch blower makes themselves heard with no great effort in all 4 cardinal directions, so too is there no limit to the unfolding of this heart-liberating benevolence." This is the way to communion with the divine. So, chanting on page 8. Now let us make the 4 boundless qualities shine forth. I will abide, pervading 1 quarter, with a heart imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the 2nd, likewise the 3rd, likewise the 4th. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself, I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world, with a heart imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1 quarter, with a heart imbued with compassion. Likewise the 2nd, likewise the 3rd, likewise the 4th. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself, I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world, with a heart imbued with compassion, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1 quarter, with a heart imbued with gladness. Likewise the 2nd, likewise the 3rd, likewise the 4th. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself, I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world, with a heart imbued with gladness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1/4, with a heart imbued with equanimity. Likewise the 2nd, likewise the 3rd, likewise the 4th. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself. I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world, with a heart imbued with equanimity, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. So I'll stop my screen share. And again, welcome if you've just joined in. We're going to take some time now for sitting, or whatever posture helps support your body, invites the mind, the attention to be with the body, to be with how it is now, whether that's sitting or standing, lying down, making the body comfortable and supported. We'll sit for about 20 minutes, and I'll start with just a little bit of guidance, and then we'll sit in silence, and then I'll offer a little bit of guidance on radiating metta. And as you inhabit the posture of meditation, there's an invitation for the mind, the thinking mind. There's an invitation for your attention to be here, to notice how it is now. It doesn't need to be heroic or Olympic. In fact, maybe that's a softening, a letting down of the shoulders, a softening of the jaw. Maybe there's some release in the belly that's available now. Possibly just a release in the gripping of the hands, or tension around your eyes. If the body's not available, perhaps the softening is noticing one thing that feels pleasant now. The air in the room, or a pleasant sound. Whatever it is, noticing the welcome of the moment, the friendliness of the moment. We might not need to generate metta, but mindfulness, embodied awareness, tending to how it is. You might feel, sense the invitation of presence, of life. This ehipassiko Dhamma is always here and now. Come and see for yourself. And this is refuge, this turning to how it is, letting awareness do the work, letting the welcome of the moment be an invitation into presence, awareness, Buddha nature. And within refuge, within Dhamma, there's the possibility of resting, softening, not needing to hold, to do, to fight, to generate, but resting into awareness, the welcome of the heart, the welcome of the Sangha, the welcome of the moment. And if the mind is entangled or caught in contention, once again, returning, beginning again to the welcome of how it is now, just this much, this breath, this body, this being together in Sangha, receiving the gift of thousands of years of practitioners, offering their goodwill, their metta, their unconditional kindness for us to rest into, to be receptive to here and now. So if the mind is troubled or the body is uncomfortable, that's okay too. All of it is welcomed into the great heart of kindness. And just as we have received kindness through the Dhamma, through the Sangha, it might be an opportunity here to radiate metta, just as we chanted, to the front, to the side, to the back, above, below, and all around. So if it's okay for you, you might join me in this practice of radiating metta. And if there's just a lot of fatigue or resistance, then just let yourself rest. Let yourself receive. Just being here is enough. It's plenty. Sensing into the body, supported by the earth, supported by awareness, supported by the in-breath and the out-breath. And on the next out-breath, radiating metta, sending kindness outward into the world, in front of the body. Softening on the next exhalation. And then becoming aware of the space to your right, the right side of the body. And on an exhalation, radiating metta to the right. Doesn't take a lot of effort, it's nothing heroic. It's the sending out of kindness, of goodwill, non-contention to the right. Softening on the exhalation. And becoming aware of the space behind your body. And on the exhalation, radiating metta, friendliness to the space behind you, all beings. And again, on the exhale, softening any effort. And becoming aware of the area, the space to your left. And on the exhalation, letting this boundless quality, kindness, shine forth to the left. And again, relaxing and softening on the exhalation. And becoming aware of the space above you. Allowing, sending out this quality of metta, metta, Mayatri, kindness to all beings above, seen and unseen. And again, softening, relaxing, breathing, receiving. And sensing the ground beneath you, the earth beneath you. Radiating metta on the out breath, below. May this earth, this planet, be well. Again, softening, feeling the support. And now again, like that conch blower, blowing in through a shell, making a sound, sending out metta all around with no great effort. So we both give and receive, we receive and give. We're part of the river of kindness, radiating metta all around. And in the last few minutes of the sitting, simply returning awareness to the body, to the breath, or to listening, resting in refuge. We'll transition from the sitting into a short sharing of Dharma reflections. You might notice that it's all one practice. Different flavors and forms of being aware, of receiving, of contemplating, sensing into how is it for you, what I'm sharing, does it resonate, does it align with your experience? And that's the beauty of the Dhamma. And so today, again, I wanted to share about this practice of being the kindness of strangers, sending metta to the people that we don't know. And there's categories in the way that metta is often practiced, different categories of beings that we can send metta to a benefactor, someone who's helped us, to ourselves, to the body, to a person who's so-called neutral, and to a difficult person, and then to all beings. Today we are practicing the practice of radiating metta, which I love because it is so embodied. And I find that it supports this practice of both offering kindness as we move through the world, and it also offers the protection of kindness, which I'll talk a little bit about, and I talked a lot about a few weeks ago in one of these Sunday Sanghas. And so this recognition of a shared humanity is the foundation of sending metta out, of offering metta out. May you be well. May you be safe. It's this offering of goodwill, this recognition that all beings want to be well, want to thrive, want to survive, and that all beings, without exception, are vulnerable. And that in the world that we live in, especially in this moment, it is uncertain, for sure. There's a lot of uncertainty. And I think there's also a sense of hostility. Living in the United States, there's a sense of this generation of, or generating hostility towards this group of people, or this group of people, or this or that. And so I'm always curious, how can this practice both wake us up, but also be a contribution into the field? And this metta for the neutral person is a recognition that we have a relationship with everything and everyone. So we, as Joanna Macy has said, we can never step outside of the web of life. We never step outside of community, of Sangha. So everything we do has an effect. And this practice of paying attention or mindfulness, taking refuge, is really at the heart of this practice of metta. Because by paying attention, by noticing, by taking refuge, again, we notice, we become aware of our own vulnerability, our own challenges, and we recognize that in others. That awakens this natural sense of kindness. And I think in this practice of offering metta, radiating metta to those we don't know is particularly powerful, because the people that we know and love and the people that we don't like are very interesting to us. If you haven't noticed, right? The people that you love is very compelling, and there's a strong sense of self and other, of oneself in relationship to another being. When you really love someone or when they've helped you, it can be quite easy actually to feel metta there. And towards the difficult person, there might really be a strong sense of self, of this is me and that is them, and we are different, and we see things differently. Maybe they've caused harm. And that's very real. That's very real. It's a very strong sense of self and other. With the neutral person or with the stranger, it can be hard to feel metta because there's people that we don't notice, that there isn't much sense of interest. It might be sort of boring. It doesn't really inspire this sense of the self. And this is powerful for me. I became aware of this when I was in my early practice with insight meditation. I was working as a cook at Spirit Rock Meditation Center. And so I was in the kitchen for most retreats. And I was sitting with the retreats while I was cooking. And I was learning, I'd practiced metta before, but I was really deepening into the practice and working with these different categories of beings. And I realized that often I was the neutral person. So all these people on retreat practicing metta, practicing Dhamma, that often I was the neutral person. I was a person in the background. I wasn't the teacher, wasn't a practitioner on retreat. I was just someone in the kitchen, serving the food. And some people really took note of that, especially teachers would really take note of the cooks and come in and talk with us and ask us about our practice, encourage us to come and practice. Some of the practitioners were really present at each meal, really noticing the offering of the food. And others didn't notice us at all. And or maybe not at all, but there was a sense of really just being a person in the background that wasn't important to the whole running of the retreat, which I was quite aware how important food is. If you've ever been on retreat, it's right up there, one of the most important things. So I was really curious about this dynamic and who were the people that I didn't notice in my world? Who are the people that didn't matter? Right, to my sense of self, my sense of the world and how it was going, where I needed to be and what I was doing and what I was getting to, who didn't really matter. And so there's this opening into this whole side of, what is it that continues to wake us up to the areas that we don't notice? This whole category of beings, which are most people in the world that are strangers to us. How can we start to open to those beings? Especially, as I said, in a time when there is so much intentionally creation of another. Like, oh, this person was deported with this group of people, but it doesn't really matter, right? That's the messaging. When actually that's a life. That's a person. That had so much, their plans for their life, family, all of it, same as we do, that's caught up in this system. So really feel it quite poignantly in this time. And so we start to notice in the practice of metta, what are the obstacles, right? Where are these places where it's just not that interesting, where it's just hard to feel that. And then that's where we can tend a little bit more. This practice of radiating, this practice of dedicating the merit. We often do this at the end of a practice, the end of a meditation, sending it out to all beings. And this very real practice of noting our interdependence and then acting within that. That's the practice of sila. But that's also just a very tangible, moment-to-moment opportunity. If you're at the grocery store, just to smile, just to say thank you, just to make eye contact. The person that's checking you out, that person matters. They have a life too. They have a plan too. They have aspirations too. They have joy, they have sorrow. And within this as well, there's a protection. So the Buddha taught metta as a protection. That as we go into the world, there's a protection of as we offer this kindness, there's a protection of the heart, and there's a sense of creating this relational field that is kind, that is gentle, that is connected, that is in relationship. And at the same time, we can also, through refuge, notice that we need to hold that metta for ourselves and continue to take refuge for ourselves. And so that we continue to resource ourselves so that we know when we have the capacity to make a connection with another being, when it's safe for us to make a connection with another being, and when it might be better to have more of a boundary. And that boundary is also metta. So short story here in our last few minutes. I'm a yoga teacher and I travel and teach. So I was traveling and teaching in Switzerland, and I had just arrived in Zurich at the airport, and I was waiting in line to have my passport stamped. And I was very tired. Everyone, of course, international flight, very tired. And my flight had gotten in, and then another flight had come in at the same time. And so my flight had gotten in first, and then there was this whole other flight that had come in. And there was two people from the other flight that started to cut in line in front of the people in the flight that I was on. And the border agents every so often would come out and tell them to stop doing that. And there was an older Italian woman who had berated one of these men for doing that, and I was cheering her on. But this really large man came and cut in front of me, a very large person. And he was just actually nudging me with his body. And I said, hey, you're cutting in front of this whole line of people. We've all been waiting. And he said, the world will treat you worse. And it was so intense for me. And I was newer to practice at that time. So immediately, I could feel it in my body, the threat, this person. And immediately I tried to send him metta. Because that was sort of this practice of like, okay, well, here's the difficult person. I'm gonna practice some metta. But I wasn't well resourced. I was tired. I was shaken up. I was really surprised, and actually the physical nature of this person being there in front of me. And it took me a long time. It took me months to realize, okay, that actually wasn't the moment to send metta. I wasn't protected. I wasn't resourced. I wasn't supported enough to offer that connection with that being. And so the need to come back again and again to refuge, to resource, to Sangha, to offering metta to our own experience when it's difficult, to our own bodies that are vulnerable. And then there's that capacity to extend out, to connect outward with all beings, with other beings. near and far, and also to sense, is this an appropriate being to connect with at this time? Not that we cut ourselves off or close our heart, because over time I was actually able to feel whatever was going on with that person who was cutting in line. They were not awake to the harm they were causing. And so to actually be able to feel that compassion and metta, but it took time. So may we send out metta to those we love, to those that are difficult, to those we don't know. And may we continue to resource ourselves, to honor our own need for support, for refuge, for rest, and for care. So I'd like to close with a mantra, chant Om Mani Padme Hum, and then we'll dedicate the merit. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May the boundless qualities of metta, compassion, joy, and equanimity that we've shared in and generated today, may they extend out into this world, to the front, to the side, to the back, above, below, and all around. May all beings everywhere be safe, be protected, and be at ease. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Really appreciate being in Sangha with you. And I'm going to put a link in the chat if you wish to offer a donation to Sacred Mountain Sangha for these teachings. And also, just to announce, there's some beautiful offerings coming up. In April, there'll be a householder retreat with Don Mauricio and Yang O. And what that means is that there's time in the morning and time in the afternoon or evening, not sure the exact timing, to practice together. And then during the middle of the day, you have the opportunity to integrate the practice into your daily life, your householder life. And then there'll also be a beautiful class on Kalyanamitta, which is the practice of spiritual friendship. And that's also with Yang O and Devin Hassa, who I mentioned earlier. So that's also in April. Those are on the SMS website. And I'm going to go ahead and stop